Life doesn't reward the people who dip their toes in the water. It rewards those who dive headfirst, who go all in. Every dream you've ever had, every goal you've ever imagined, is waiting on the other side of your full commitment. Half effort, half results. It's one of the most brutal but honest truths in life. The energy you put in always mirrors the outcome you receive. You cannot expect to achieve extraordinary success with ordinary effort. Yet most people live as if they can cheat the process, as if they can give half of their heart, half of their time, half of their focus, and somehow still receive a full reward. Life doesn't work that way. The world doesn't hand out greatness for minimal effort. It only gives back what you earn. Every shortcut you take, every excuse you make, every moment you choose comfort over consistency, you're choosing to limit your own potential. You're choosing to stay average when you could be exceptional. When you give something your all, the universe has a way of responding. Doors open, opportunities appear, and people start to notice. But when you only show up halfway, when you hesitate, procrastinate, or coast through your days, you tell the world that you're not serious about what you want. Effort is energy, and energy has a frequency. When you vibrate at a high frequency of commitment and drive, you attract the same level of opportunity. But when your energy is inconsistent, scattered, or weak, life mirrors that back to you with confusion, stagnation, and frustration. Every person who has ever accomplished something meaningful understood this principle. They knew that results don't care about intentions. They care about execution. You can dream all day, visualize success, write affirmations, or talk about your goals to everyone you meet. But if your actions don't match your words, you'll never move forward. It's not what you say that defines you. It's what you consistently do when no one's watching. Half effort means showing up when it's convenient, giving energy when you feel inspired, and backing off when things get tough. But that's not how champions are made. Champions show up even when it hurts. They push even when no one's clapping. They go the extra mile even when no one's counting. There's a dangerous illusion that many fall into. The belief that they're working hard when, in reality, they're just being busy. True effort is not about how much time you spend. It's about the quality of your focus in that time. You can work for 10 hours and accomplish nothing if your heart isn't in it. But you can work for one focused hour, fully engaged and committed, and move mountains. Half effort scatters your energy, divides your attention, and drains your passion. Full effort, on the other hand, channels everything you have into one direction. And that's where transformation happens. When you give less than your best deep down, you know it. You feel that guilt, that quiet disappointment, that whisper in your mind saying, you could have done more. And that whisper doesn't go away. It becomes a voice that grows louder every time you cut corners. It haunts you when you see someone else succeeding, not because they're better, but because they went on where you hesitated. It's a painful truth, not because life is unfair, but because it's brutally fair. You always reap what you sow. Effort is the great equalizer. You may not have the best resources, connections, or circumstances, but you can control how much heart you bring to the table. The person who works with full conviction, who refuses to stop until the job is done, will always outperform the one with more talent, but less drive. Half effort keeps you trapped in cycles of almost successful, almost ready, almost there. But almost doesn't count. Almost doesn't build legacies. Only total commitment does. The truth is, every goal you have will test how badly you want it. The road will be hard. And the temptation to give half effort will be constant. You'll want to rest when you should push. You'll want to settle when you should stretch. But the ones who rise, the ones who build something lasting, are those who decide that half effort is no longer acceptable. They give everything they have, and because of that, they get everything they dream of. Burn the safety net. Because as long as you have something soft to fall back on, you'll never give everything you've got to move forward. Comfort is seductive. It whispers, play it safe. You can always try again later. But that whisper is a lie. Every time you choose safety over risk, you kill a part of your potential. The safety net feels secure. But it's the same thing that keeps you from leaping high enough to reach your full potential. When you leave yourself an escape route, you subconsciously prepare to fail. You never give your all because a part of you knows there's a way out. That's why the people who achieve greatness are the ones who eliminate the option to retreat. They don't look back because there's nothing left behind them to run to. They burn the boats, cut the ropes, and commit to their mission with no backup plan. The moment you remove the safety net, everything changes. Suddenly, every decision matters. Every effort counts. You stop wasting time and start making moves because there's no other option. Pressure becomes your fuel instead of your fear. You develop a level of focus and intensity that only exists when failure is no longer an acceptable outcome. The stakes bring out a version of you that comfort never could. When your only choice is forward, you stop overthinking, you stop hesitating, and you start performing like your life depends on it. Because, in a way, it does. People hold on to their safety nets because they crave certainty. They want to know that if they fall, something will catch them. But certainty and growth cannot coexist. Growth lives in risk, in uncertainty, in the chaos of the unknown. You can't play it safe and expect to grow. You can't keep a foot in comfort and expect to reach new levels of success. At some point, you have to take the leap, trusting that you either land on your feet or learn to fly on the way down. The safety net may protect you from pain, but it also protects you from progress. Every dreamer who built something remarkable did it without guarantees. They stepped into uncertainty with faith and conviction. They didn't wait for the perfect time because they knew it doesn't exist. They acted in the face of doubt. They accepted risk as part of the price of greatness. When you burn the safety net, you stop being average. You stop thinking about what's safe and start focusing on what's possible. You stop relying on external security and start trusting your inner strength. That's where real confidence is born. In the moments when there's no backup, no lifeline, and you still move forward anyway. There's a fire that ignites in people who have no way out. When your back is against the wall, you find power you didn't know existed. You start working smarter, faster, harder, because you know the only way to survive is to win. That pressure creates diamonds. It's the reason people who take risks often outgrow those who play it safe. Safety may bring stability, but risk brings evolution. You'll never discover your true potential while holding on to comfort. The truth is, you can't chase greatness with one hand, holding on to security. You can't live fully if you're always preparing to fall. The safety net convinces you to settle, to slow down, to stay realistic. But realism is often just fear wearing a mask. If you want to live an extraordinary life, you have to be willing to let go of what feels safe and step into what feels uncertain. You have to be willing to fall, to fail, to get hurt, because that's the price of freedom. The safety net may protect your body, but it suffocates your soul. Once you burn it, you stop existing and start living. You stop wishing and start doing. You stop surviving and start becoming unstoppable. Commitment beats talent every single time, because talent alone is never enough to sustain greatness. Talent is a spark. It gives you a head start, a natural ability, a moment of advantage, but commitment is the fire that keeps burning when everything else fades. The world is filled with talented people who never fulfilled their potential, not because they lacked skill, but because they lacked consistency. They relied on what came easy instead of what came earned. Commitment, on the other hand, is what separates those who succeed once from those who succeed always. It's the daily decision to show up, even when the feeling is gone, even when the outcome isn't guaranteed. It's the discipline to keep going when enthusiasm runs out. Talent can open doors, but it can't keep them open. What keeps them open is the grit to stay in the game, the endurance to keep pushing after failure, the willingness to put in the work no one sees. Commitment means you do it because it matters, not because it's convenient. It's the mindset that says, I'll show up whether I feel like it or not. That's what creates progress. Not the flashes of brilliance that come once in a while, but the repeated effort that compounds over time. Every hour spent refining your craft, every day you push past laziness, every moment you choose discipline over comfort. That's commitment. That's the real difference maker. The truth is, talent gives you potential, but commitment transforms the potential into performance. It takes what could be and turns it into what is. A talented person who quits will always be outperformed by a less gifted person who never gives up. Because talent can only carry you so far before it reaches a wall, and when it does, only commitment breaks through. That wall is what stops most people: the boredom, the frustration, the grind. The committed ones don't see the wall as a stop sign. They see it as a test. They understand that greatness doesn't come from flashes of success, but from consistent repetition. Commitment is loyalty to your purpose, not to your emotions. Feelings change. One day you're motivated. The next day you're tired, uninspired, or doubtful. If you only move when you feel ready, you'll never move far. The people who achieve greatness treat their dreams like a contract with themselves. Unbreakable, non-negotiable. They don't wait for ideal conditions. They create them through relentless action. They show up early, stay late, and work through the fatigue. They trust that consistency will always outlast talent because time rewards those who persist. You can't control how much natural ability you're born with, but you can control how much effort you're willing to give. That's the beauty of commitment. It's entirely in your hands. It levels the playing field. It gives anyone, regardless of where they start, the chance to rise above the rest. The world respects the one who refuses to stop. Even when they fall, they rise. Even when they fail, they adjust. Even when they're behind, they keep going. That's the mindset that builds empires, careers, legacies. Commitment isn't glamorous. It's not about viral moments or overnight success. It's about the quiet grind when no one is watching. It's the decision to keep showing up when recognition is absent and progress feels invisible. Most people quit because they confuse slow growth with no growth. The committed person understands that the seeds take time to break through the soil, and that patience is part of the process. They don't need to see results to believe. They believe because they've chosen to stay loyal to the process. In the end, talent fades without effort. Commitment, however, compounds. It turns ordinary individuals into unstoppable forces. The longer you stay consistent, the better you get, the stronger you become, and the more unstoppable your progress becomes. Talent may set the stage, but commitment writes the story. And the ones who win in the long run are never just the most talented. They are the most committed. Every sacrifice builds the foundation for something greater, even when it doesn't feel that way in the moment. The truth is, nothing meaningful comes without a cost. Every goal, every dream, every success story has a price tag attached to it, and that price is sacrifice. You can't expect to climb higher while carrying everything and everyone from your comfort zone. You have to let go of pieces of yourself, of distractions, of temporary pleasures to build something lasting. Every time you choose discipline over desire, purpose over pleasure, focus over comfort, you're laying another brick in the foundation of your future. It's not glamorous, it's not easy, but it's necessary. The sacrifices you make today are the structure your future stands on. There will be nights when you'll have to trade sleep for work, weekends where you'll trade rest for effort, and moments when you'll walk alone while others enjoy company. That's the reality of chasing something bigger than yourself. People may not understand it. They may call you obsessed, too serious, or distant. But obsession is what builds legacies, not balance. The people who achieve greatness aren't the ones who avoid sacrifice. They're the ones who embrace it as part of the journey. Every missed party, every hour of hard work, every decision to say no to what feels good now in exchange for what will feel right later, it all adds up. Each sacrifice becomes a layer of strength, a reminder that you are willing to do what others won't so you can live how others can't. Sacrifice is not punishment, it's preparation. The struggles you endure while building something real are shaping you into the person capable of sustaining it. The road to success tests your patience, your resilience, and your faith. It strips you of comfort so you can replace it with character. It breaks you down so you can rebuild stronger. Every time you give something up, time, rest, convenience, even relationships that don't align with your growth, You're creating space for something greater to fill it. You're removing the unnecessary so the essential can thrive. You're learning to live without what doesn't serve your vision. And in doing so, you gain everything that does. Most people see sacrifice as loss. They see what they're giving up and forget what they're gaining. But if you could see 10 years ahead, if you could see what your discipline is building, you'd never doubt it. Every drop of sweat, every lonely hour, every painful decision is adding up to something. Sacrifice teaches appreciation. It makes success meaningful. If everything came easy, there would be no pride in achieving it. The struggle gives value to the victory. You don't just build your dreams through sacrifice. You build yourself. You learn who you are when things get hard. You discover what truly matters. You realize how powerful you become when you refuse to quit. It's in the moments of sacrifice that true transformation happens. The version of you that's destined for greatness is being sculpted through the choices you make right now. The early mornings, the long nights, the moments of doubt where you keep going anyway. You're trading temporary comfort for permanent strength. You're giving up the easy path for the one that leads to meaning. Every sacrifice is a signal to life that you're serious about your purpose. And life always rewards those who prove their seriousness through action. You might not see the results right away, but the foundation is being laid brick by brick. Someday, when you stand tall on the success you built, you'll realize that every sacrifice had a purpose. Every time you said no to comfort, you were saying yes to growth. Every time you endured the pain, you were reinforcing the base of your legacy. And when the storms come, because they always do, that foundation will hold strong, built from the sacrifices that shaped your strength, your focus, and your unshakable will. You can't lose if you don't quit, because the only true failure in life is surrender. Every other setback, every mistake, every rejection is just a step in the process of becoming stronger. The people who win are not the ones who never fall. They're the ones who refuse to stay down. They understand that success isn't a straight line, it's a cycle of falling, learning, and rising again. When you commit to never quitting, you remove the option of defeat. You might get delayed, you might get detoured, but you never get destroyed. The moment you decide to keep going no matter what, you've already separated yourself from most of the world, because most people give up right before the breakthrough. Every dream, every goal, every vision will test your endurance. There will be times when everything feels impossible, when all your effort seems invisible, and when giving up looks like the easier choice. But that's the exact moment when persistence matters most. When you keep pushing through the pain, the world's tough. You're training your mind to operate beyond emotion. You're building the kind of strength that can't be shaken by disappointment. The road to success isn't about avoiding failure. It's about outlasting it. The longer you stay in the game, the more you learn, the more you adapt, and the closer you get to the result you've been chasing. Life rewards resilience. It respects the ones who keep showing up when others disappear. Every time you refuse to quit, you grow tougher, wiser, and more capable. You start to see setbacks differently, not as signs to stop, but as signals to adjust. The difference between winners and quitters isn't luck or timing, it's stamina. Quitting ends the story, but persistence writes the ending. The truth is, no one is keeping score of how many times you fall. What people remember is that you didn't give up. That's what defines legacy. The greatest successes in history were built on the back of relentless effort. Every person who achieved something monumental failed over and over before they finally got it right. There will be days when it feels like your best isn't enough, when progress moves slower than your patience. Those are the days that decide who you become. When you choose to keep going despite doubt, fatigue, and frustration, you create momentum. You start to realize that strength doesn't come from winning. It comes from surviving the losses. Each time you rise from a failure, you gain experience, and experience is the foundation of mastery. The lessons learned in struggle are what prepare you for success when it finally arrives. Quitting robs you of that preparation. It stops the story before the climax. You can't control how long it takes, how many obstacles appear, or how many times you'll stumble, but you can control your commitment to keep trying. The power to continue is what keeps dreams alive. When you stay in the fight long enough, opportunities begin to appear where there used to be walls. What once felt impossible starts to feel inevitable. It's not that the challenges disappear, it's that you become stronger than them. Perseverance rewires your mind to see possibilities instead of problems. And when you reach that point, losing becomes impossible. The truth is, quitting doesn't protect you from failure. It guarantees it. Every time you walk away from something that still matters to you, you surrender a piece of your potential. You might find comfort in stopping, but you'll never find peace. Because deep down, you'll always wonder what could have happened if you had just kept going one more day, one more step, one more try. Persistence is not just about success, it's about self-respect. It's the promise you make to yourself that no matter how hard it gets, you won't betray your vision. You can't lose if you don't quit, because every attempt, no matter how small, keeps you moving forward. Even when you fail, you're still learning, still growing, still building something inside you that can't be broken. The road might be long, the journey might be lonely, but every step you take keeps you in the race. As long as you're still standing, still fighting, still believing, you haven't lost. You've just not finished yet.